appreciate y'all chilling and politicking and paying attention because it's real vital. You heard me? Trench Talk TV. So that's what it's gonna sound like. It ain't gonna sound like nothing sugarcoat. It ain't gonna sound like what you want to hear. It's gonna be Trench Talk.
All right, you 19. You more on your conscious kick at this time, rapping.
Right.
Before you went to the service, you said you had dabbled in the streets. Had you had any run-ins with the law at this point?
I had a few run-ins with the law. Actually. In order for me to get into the service, I had to get what you call basically like waivers. It mean that they, give you an exemption on such and such, but if I already had a record pretty much. So they waived it though. They gave me a waiver on it, and I was able to get in. So I had a few run-ins with the law, as a youngster.
I got you. All right, you working with your dad. You financing your music at this point.
Well, yeah, I am financing my music at this point. At this point, I haven't even been in the studio yet. At this point,
How are you recording?
I hadn't even recorded a song yet. See, at this point, we're talking about 1991, 1991. The way things are now, everybody has a studio. You got Pro Tools, you got all this. It didn't have all that then. Studios were very rare to come by. It wasn't no black-owned studios in Baton Rouge that I know of. Before like Greg Dukes and G Rock, but this was even before that. Before I knew them. Plus, we did songs together. Shout out to G Rock or Greg Dukes, as y'all know him to be. This is before that. So I was writing the music. I was at home. I was taking it like a job. I was building up my catalog, so to speak. I was getting all of my material together, getting my idea of shaping and molding what Joker P was going to be, coming into my own. You know what I mean? And so, but these are ideas that I had because Baton Rouge was not on the map. Nobody knew about Baton Rouge, and that's the difference when I talk about the music scene that we have today. I am proud of Baton Rouge and how Baton Rouge is now one of the major outlets when it comes to music. Baton Rouge is one of the major outlets in this country and it has their own scene going. But back then, just think about it. Nobody had even heard of Baton Rouge. If you heard we talked about Louisiana, it was always New Orleans. Baton Rouge was never mentioned. And so when I was writing these rhymes and I'm putting together all this, I had to believe in Baton Rouge because I knew that I believed that the way that I came up and our swag and the way that we move, if the world got a chance to be able to hear us or hear our point of view, I knew that they would take to it. I knew that they would love it. And so it's a difference when you're one of the first ones or you're one of the pioneers that's putting out this music and nobody has came from Baton Rouge. I had to believe that Baton Rouge can be on the scene. I didn't have nobody before me to put Baton Rouge on the map for to lay it down for me. I had to lay the foundation down myself and believe in Baton Rouge and build these blocks for these other rappers to be able to come out there because I knew Baton Rouge. We had our own shit. I knew we was the shit. I knew the way that we grew up. Just like I said, I had traveled and been to other places and seen other people, and I used to say, man, shit, Baton Rouge, shit, we one of the one. If I'm around people from Philadelphia, New York, California, LA, San Diego, Chicago, and when I'm around these dudes, I'm saying to myself, man, Baton Rouge, we just got it going on as them. Probably even a little bit more, just with our swag and I felt like our knowledge, and so when it came to the rapping, that's what I've had to believe in. You know what I mean? So now these guys, they already got somebody, Baton Rouge already on the map, so it's a little bit easier to come out. But then I had to really believe in Baton Rouge.
At this point, do you have did you necessarily have the business acumen of it down pat?
Not at all. I didn't have any of that because that was kind of a downfall of mine because I was so much in love with what I had to say, just the art of it. I probably would have damn near rap for free. That's just how much I love to rap. Now of course it's a business and you got to, be up on your finances and that type of thing, your points and all this and all that there. But back then, it was like no, it was just I just wanted to kind of put out something. Of course, I wanted to be famous and wanted to be big and everything too. So I just felt like that would come. I felt like if I'm talented enough, all that's going to come in time. Just let me concentrate on my art, on my craft, and just being able to, you know what I'm saying? be better and to represent where I'm from or whatever. So that was my main focus then. So, but nobody had really put nothing out in Baton Rouge as far as like gangster music. We had Kuiper, we had a few little artists, but you know, even Nero to an extent, but they was more a part of music. They was more, you know, bounce type of music or, you know, techno or whatever it was. But
Gotcha.
you know, my mind was already, you know what I mean, on some street stuff. So, you know, so that's what I started. That's what I started writing that, and I said I need to get this off. I need to put this down. So.
And this round, I believe you said 91,
This is
92.
This is 90, 91. And
Your sound. So your content starting to change.
my content has already changed. You know what I mean? I had already been in the streets. You know, back then, you know, you had to pretty much like battle rap. You know what I mean? I used to do shit like that, battle rap. You know, catch other dudes in other areas or get on the mic when they had like a party going or something like that. That was my thing. So, you know, and that's another reason why performing was, came easy to me too, because I had been doing it since I was young, doing talent shows and doing stuff like that. So I'm easy to perform. I'm not just gonna stand up there and hold a mic and just rap. I'm gonna really perform. You know what I mean? So by the time I really had got to the point where I was really older and was trying to put something together, you know, the performance was gonna automatically be a part of it. But you know, I started out solo, of course. I started out by myself. I'm like, you know, this is Joker P. You know, and my homeboy Silky Slim, shout out to him. You know, you might have seen him on Diamonds of the Dirt. You might have seen it or whatever. But when they talk about, you know, Joker P and me and him, but even before that, me and him got together. This is before that. I went to him because Silk knew where the studio was.
How did you? I'm gonna stop you right there, man.
Yeah.
How'd you and Silky Slim become friends?
Man, Silk been friends because just in the streets, we had been friends. You know, he was a few years older than me at the time, and kind of all of us hung. You know, it was Wrecking Crew. It was, you know, we was at our little Southside Wrecking Crew thing going on at that time, and so that's the way me and Silk already had been friends before the rap. So I was known as a rapper, even though we was in a Wrecking Crew. I was known as a rapper. I'm Joker P. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was with the bullshit too, and I was rapping. So that's kind of how that was.
What? Who all were the members of the Southside Wrecking Crew?
Hey, it was a lot of members of the Wrecking Crew. You know, you had Big Daddy, you had Frog, you had Hitman, you had Lil Mark, you had Shed, you had Maurice, you had Les, you had Pac Black, you had my boy Alfred Shaw. Shout out to him. I mean, I can name so many. I can go on and on. You know, my homeboy, rest in peace, man. Jeff, he just had his funeral yesterday. Jeffrey Fowler, man. We call him Black Jesus, man. It's really, this interview is for you, homeboy. It was Wrecking Crew, and it was not only just us as a quote unquote a gang, but it was us as family. It was us as brothers. It was us as feeling like, not saying that your own family, but it's feeling like having another family. That's much what people don't really understand, I guess, when it comes down to being on the streets or being in a gang. You know, the reason why it does have an appeal to it. People wonder why now that rappers get money and they still want to be in the streets, and they still want to, because being in the streets and being is being different. See, that's being really a risk taker in a sense, and it's been ever since when I was young. When, you know, when the girls say they love bad boys and everything and stuff like that, being a bad boy is something being in the streets is something that the average person won't do, because it take a lot of nuts to jump off the post and take them kind of chances and live from like here to there and on that life on the edge. And some men, they really envy that down. You know, they may be straight laced and go to work every day, but it's not an excitement type of thing. And women like that appeal too when they see a maverick kind of a guy. So that's kind of the appeal to being in the streets and being there, because the average Joe Blow is not going to take them type of chances or lay it down in jail and come back out and take them type of risks. You know, they're mostly going to play it safe, and people respect people that's like that. That's why the Al Capones, the Scarfaces and stuff, they're going to go down as the Godfathers. They're going to go down in history, and people still look at them with respect because of the chances that they took, that the average person would take in their lifestyle that they live. So it does have an appealing thing. And now, don't get me wrong, it is more or less going to be a failure. We all know this. That it's going to be jails or penitentiaries or whatever. So we all see the big Meaches, all of the Rick Rosses examples that came before us on that how that life goes. But you know, hey, that it is what it is. So we started out as that gang first, and as I began to keep rapping and keep on doing it, keep doing it, I need to get in the studio. I need to put all this what I'm talking about. We smoking weed, and I'll get to rapping, freestyling, just like in a fun way. And I'm like, man, I need to put this. Somebody else needs to hear this, what I'm talking about. And everybody else felt like that way too. So, Silky Slim found the studio for it.